Gobble gobble everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and since it's November, I shall be talking about Thanksgiving episodes, and today I will be talking about Jack of All Trades Season 2, 1, 2, 3, Give Me Lady Liberty. This is a Thanksgiving episode. Now, many of you have probably never heard of Jack of All Trades. I have talked about this briefly. I think it was probably like the first video I probably uploaded or something like that. So go check that out. Basically, Jack of All Trades is like a version of Zorro, but instead of Americans versus Mexico, and unlike Queen of Swords, where it's Spain versus Americans, this has to do with America versus the French. This came out in the late 90s, or probably the early 2000s, so probably like 2000 and 2001. It only lasted for 2 seasons, and it stars the legend himself, Bruce Campbell. And this was also a Rob Tapert and Sam Raimi series. After the success of Hercules and Xena, they decided to branch out and try something different. So they tried a Renaissance type show called Jack of All Trades and a future Matrix-like show called Cleopatra 2525. And they both lasted for like 30 minutes, and they were like back to back. And I think they used to call it the back-to-back action hour or something like that. And I remember just watching these late at night, having fun. It was in syndication. Not many people know of this. I doubt it's on streaming. It's on DVD. The DVD has finally come down in price. When I paid for it, I waited for so many years and was like, screw it. So then I paid for an expensive price. Then soon after I bought it, a year later, it came down in price. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So it stars Bruce Campbell. And also stars Angela Daughtrin. I have no idea what happened to her. She disappeared after she retired from acting and got married. Like, she doesn't have no type of social media account. Nobody knows what she looks like now. And I'm so curious because she is such a lovely woman and such a good actress and everything. But this show was awesome. Basically what happens is this. It's set in the year 1801. And the Revolutionary War had, just been won. That's actually in the intro. By the way, I love the intro. My God, the intro is awesome. The way it's sung, the way it's acted, the clips they use. I miss intros in TV shows so much. I'm tired of all this title card sequence crap. Like, they do that to have more minutes in the show. Well, you know what? Take out some of that dialogue and drama and you can have yourself an intro. But intros were half the fun of a TV show. And so, like, pretty much, I think it was one of the presidents during that time. I forgot who it was. It wasn't Jefferson, I don't think. No, it wasn't Franklin. Maybe it was Jefferson, probably. One of them, or something Adams. I can't remember which one. But then one of them wanted, Napoleon was doing like his craziness during that time. And so the president of the United States wanted him to survey a country known as Palau, which is fictional. The French had taken over that place. So basically what it is, he's there as an American spy. But when things get kind of crazy, he takes on the legend of the Daring Dragoon, which is like a fictional folklore thing. So basically he does the whole Zorro thing. He stops the guards and the governor in his tracks and, and helps spy like on the country for like his country and stuff. And the governor is supposed to be Napoleon's brother, which they just came that up. Now, Napoleon is actually played by the late Vern Troyer. And he is hilarious in this show. So in this episode, it's directed by Michael Hurst, who played Aeolus in the Hercules Legendary Journeys series. So, this starts off with Jack. He's at home. Amelia's home, 'cause that's where he lives at. He's her contact. Amelia is played by Angela. She's supposed to be British in this, but in reality, the actress is New Zealand. So, they had that similar accent. So Jack, the American, he's there and he's smoking a cigar and it's like a French maid. Oh, by the way, this show has what you would expect from a Bruce Campbell show. Crude humor, sexual innuendos, bluntness. Like if you love Bruce Campbell and like his stuff from Ash versus Evil Dead, where he's like all rude and crude and stuff like that. Then you get it here, but it's more watered down because it's PG. But this episode has a lot in it. Like Napoleon tells like Jack, "Suck my cleats" and everything like that. Oh man. So anyway. Amelia comes home. She's been gone for a week and she's pissed because she sees this French maid dressing like a French maid would, you think would, in lingerie and everything. And she's all like, she's pissed because Jack is supposed to keep an eye on the governor and make sure he ain't gonna do nothing to help like Napoleon and like rule the country and stuff. And Jack's all like, I kept an eye on the country all week. She's like, oh yeah, then what's that huge statue that's 50 feet in the air doing outside being constructed? It's the Statue of Liberty. Remember, the French gave it to Americans. So, oh, by the way, this is a fictional show, so there's a lot of fictional stuff happens in there. So he goes out there. He's like, M, I promise it wasn't out there yesterday. Which he calls her M for like short for Amelia and stuff. So they go out there and they see what's going on. And like, there's Vern Troy. He's on the top. And so Governor Croak, he tells him straight up that, you know, his brother's here and he's giving a gift to Americans. And it's supposed to be like a nice gesture. And so Napoleon's up there and he's talking to the person constructing it and he's pissed because it doesn't have a face. And so like he throws the man off the balcony, then he parachutes down and, you know, he tells them, you know, he's giving it to Americans because he's turning over a new leaf. Well, Jack and Amelia, they don't believe it. And so like they need to know what's he up to. Oh, by the way, so when Amelia does come home, she wants to know what's that weird smell in the air at her house because Jack is cooking Thanksgiving dinner for the next day and stuff. And so like whatchamacallit, crap. Oh, okay, now I remember. So anyway, he talks about how he doesn't have a face and he wants like Amelia to like pose for him and stuff like that. And so because he thinks she's like the most beautiful woman in the world and, you know, he wants to have the most beautiful face. And so as he's like sculpting it and everything, and she's dressed as the Statue of Liberty and everything, and he says that his statue is actually going to be called Wahoo with a Rack. Vern is hilarious in this episode. Man, it sucks that he had such a tragic life and died and everything. It's just like, you know, stay off them drugs, man. Like, it's so sad. Like, it's so sad, you know what I'm saying? Like, people gotta stop doing that stuff. And so, like, what it is that they need the blueprints for him because they don't believe him. So they think, you know, he's up to something. So Croak tells Jack and all of them for Thanksgiving he's gonna cook like a turkey and all this other stuff, and Jack's all like, you can't have a chicken for like Thanksgiving. That's like cooking like a chicken for Thanksgiving and stuff. So he wants to cook them all like dinner and everything. And so like he's cooking down in like Amelia's lab because she has like a laboratory and stuff because she's like a spy also. And so like whatchamacallit, so like the guard in charge, Brigard, he gives the blueprints to Napoleon, and Napoleon acts kind of weird when he gets them. So Amelia knows straight up something is like, you know, off with those blueprints, so she needs to get her hands on it. And so like before she even leaves, it's weird because like, okay, there's a doll of the Daring Dragoon and he hates the Daring Dragoon because he's foiled all his plans to take over the world and stuff like that. And so he's beating up on the doll in a very childish manner. And the guard tells Amelia, oh yeah, he does that because his therapist said it gets away his anger issues and stuff. So like when they're at the Thanksgiving dinner that Jack has now cooked and everything, it's funny because like they do the whole giving thanks thing, right? And then so they all break the fourth wall, look into the camera, and tell why they're thankful. But before they do that, Jack tells him to like carve the turkey. So he gives him a knife. And Napoleon walks on the table in a very deranged way towards his brother, the governor, and he's getting ready to stab him. And the governor is like freaking out. So he distracts him by telling him, I'll just take some like dark meat or whatever, or white meat or whatever, something like that. Because Napoleon's pissed at his brother because he should have taken over Palau already and should have taken over the world, but because of the Dairy Dragoon messing everything up and his brother being an idiot, he can't do that. So when they all give thanks, it's weird. So it's cool. So they break the fourth wall, right? They look directly in the camera and everything's weird sitting up in the background. It's a nice little montage that Michael Hurst came up with. So basically, she is surrounded by tons of French maids, and she says all she wants is peace on the world, and she's thankful for all her friends and stuff like that. Croak, he is surrounded by two sexy women dressed in lingerie as they bring in giant like elephant tusks, and he said he's thankful for his family's wealth. Bagard is also surrounded by sexy women in lingerie, and they're all like around as he's playing not necessarily a piano, but like a harpsichord, probably I think it's called something like that. And I forget what he's thankful for. Oh, now I remember. He didn't have to deal with the Dragoon for like a whole week. And Jack, I would assume he would have been surrounded by women, but he wasn't. That's what was so strange about it. Cause Jack is a perv and everything. And so like, he is at like the fireplace with a robe on and a cigar, and he's all like, here comes the perv part. You know, Bruce Campbell can't help himself but to say stuff like this. He's thankful for mini skirts, the Wonder Bra, penicillins, and those tiny donuts you can get 12 for $1. Like, I'm just like, what the world, man? Oh man. And so like so after that they eat the Thanksgiving food and they're all completely passed out. And so like Amelia wakes up and she's like, Jack, you poisoned us and everything. He's like, no, I didn't. This is just what everybody does after Thanksgiving dinner. It makes you knock out. So then they go into Napoleon's room to go get the blueprints because his maids took him into his bedchamber. So they go in there and they grab the blueprints. And as soon as they grab it, his head is turned from them and he opens his eyes and he's wide awake and he can hear everything. He can hear them scheming and planning. Basically what it is that the Statue of Liberty is a Trojan horse. It's going to have tons of soldiers in it and invade America. As soon as they put the blueprints back, he turns around with a teeny tiny pistol and he's all like, oh, you know, I like y'all and all, but I gotta kill you now. So then Amelia comes up with a clever plan to pretend like he's asleep. So she kisses him on the cheek and she like starts like talking to him all sexy and stuff. And he's all like, oh yeah, this is a dream. Then strip down naked and make love to me. And she's all like, oh, I will. And then she starts like singing a lullaby to him, talking about go to sleep and picture me naked and stuff like that. So then he puts his thumb in his mouth and he starts sucking it as he like passes out and falls asleep. So after that, they go back into Amelia's lab and she has now reconstructed the blueprints from like memory. Because oh, by the way, Amelia is like a super genius in this show. She has a laboratory. She creates all this like modern day like tech and stuff to help them do their spy stuff. And Jack tells her, hey, you're not the only one with a pornographic memory. And so like she determined that because of the size and weight of the statue, the best way to blow it up will be at the torch. So she said they're gonna need a distraction because it's gonna have tons of guards out there. And Jack's all like, I got the perfect distraction. The one thing everybody does on like on Thanksgiving, football. So everybody's dressed up in old school football attire. from the early 90s. It's so weird to see them dressed like that. And so if this was a European country, then they wouldn't like, well, actually it's not a European country, it's like a foreigner's country that they taken over. So yeah, but even around then, football should be something more like soccer, but I don't know when football or soccer was created. So anyway, so the plan is this: Jack tells them, we're gonna play prison rules. We're gonna start beating up on all the football players to where the guards have to swap places with them. Then when the statue isn't guarded, he'll go in there in his Daring Dragoon outfit with the bomb and blow it up. Now the bomb is in the shape of a football. So this is when a lot of the most hilarious stuff in the episode happens. Amelia is the only girl playing in, like, you know, with the guys and stuff. And so like they just start playing football as rough as possible. They're clotheslining each other, they're tackling each other, there's all kind of stuff. And of course, because they're playing so rough, that all the players are getting hurt. So the guards have to like swap out. So once all this happens and the final guard is done, Jack is now on the ground because he is injured for real. And Amelia's all like, now it's the perfect time to fake an injury. And he's like, who's faking? And she takes her fist and she punches it in his calf. So then he's whining and complaining. And she's all like, Jack is hurt. He needs to be taken for medical attention. and so like Napoleon, I think he calls him like a wuss or something like that. So then they're still playing football. And then so Jack, he changed his Daring Dragoon outfit. Now the Daring Dragoon, his outfit is very much like Zorro. The only difference is instead of being black, it's a white shirt with black pants, a red hat, and a red cape. It has like a double feature. So it's like the cape acts also as like sleeves on his shoulders and stuff. It's a really beautiful design, I have to say. I really love it. And so like he goes up to the statue and he's getting ready to like set the fuse on like the bomb and everything. And so like the guards come in because they see him, because what happened was she gives the ball to the governor. He throws it and then the dragoon catches it. And so like while he's up there, he's lighting the fuse, the guards come. He takes out this sword and some nice sword action. I always love the sword action. The action in this is cool. It's a little bit different from that of Hercules and Xena. Hercules and Xena was more like martial arts, a lot of flipping around and sometimes wackiness and stuff. With this one, it's more fencing because, you know, they have those fencing type swords. So it's more fencing. They're still flipping around, but from the Daring Dragoon only. But there's no kicking. But, you know, pretty much. So he's taking guards out left and right, slugging them before he gets to the statue. So then, like, Napoleon shows up with his sword. And him and Jack go at it, like, back and forth with the sword. And it's a pretty cool sword fight. But Napoleon gets the upper hand by constantly punching, like, Jack in the face. And so, like, Jack tells him, like, you fool, I just set a bomb and everything. We're both going to be blown up. And then, so, like, Napoleon's like, I don't care, like we'll fight in the underworld or something like that. So then Jack jumps off the statue and Napoleon gets blown up with the statue. However, it completely blows up, falls to the ground, and somehow he is alive. He was under all that rubble and he is alive. So like they could have ended him right then and there, because this is towards the end of the series and they didn't get picked up for a third season. And so then he's all upset. He's punching at the dirt, talking about, I hate you filthy Americans and everything like that. And so then Amelia, she's back at her home. She's waiting for Jack, who has not shown up yet. Because remember, he was caught in the explosion when he jumped off. And then so he finally shows up, a little singed and everything and battered. And he falls to the ground and she's really worried. And they have a heart to heart. And they start to bond more romantically because towards the end of the series, they started trying to pair them two as like a couple, but it never happened. The reason for it is because she had a husband. He was killed by the French. And so Jack's been hitting on her ever since like season 1, but nothing's ever come between those two. But every now and then they kind of like each other, but nothing ever happens. Not even towards the series finale was weird and made no sense. And they should have known it wasn't getting picked up, so they should have ended it on a really good note. But yeah. And so it ends and everything, and she takes him back to her lab to treat his like injuries. All in all, this is a pretty hilarious episode. Normally, it's more action packed. You know, with the sword fighting and them trying to like stop whatever nefarious thing the governor is doing. It always has crude humor in every episode and all those one-liners from Bruce Campbell. If you can find this anywhere, I suggest like watching it because it's a really cool show. I used to love this show growing up. Well, didn't that just fill you up? Well, alrighty, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.